a big problem.
It is. So
It's a big problem.
what's a lot of people, a lot of us are vaccinated, but a lot of us aren't vaccinated, and I think maybe a third of our population is not keen on the vaccine. I mean, that's 100 million people.
It's a big problem.
It is.
It's
So
a big problem.
what's you? And there's a
Listen,
lot even that I hear from folks that are quote unquote anti-vaxxers. It's a lot of misinformation that's directing them.
it's a big
Um,
problem. I got to tell you, I'm speaking as first a scientist and physician, um, and then I'm speaking just as an American. First, as a scientist, and you know this, this is basic virology. We learned this in medical school. Viruses behave a certain way, and their behavior, in most cases, is pretty predictable by scientists. And anyone who has any credibility and knowledge of how viruses work, they understand that right now, this vaccine is the only way to get this thing calmed down. It's the only way. There's no medication for it that's going to be preventive. You need to have a vaccine. And it's very distressing to hear people say the most outlandish things about a vaccine. I mean, they have politicized this thing, they have turned it into a religious thing. Like, who sits home and comes up with this stuff? This is just science. It's apolitical, it's agnostic, it's just science. This is how things, their genes, their chromosomes, their scientific facts. You know, the sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. That's just how it is. It's not like, oh, it's doing that because. And so when I hear people say, I'm not getting that vaccine, or I don't know what's in that vaccine, you don't know what's in the vaccine, huh? What was in the chickenpox vaccine you took as a kid that you had to take to go to school, and all those other vaccines you took? Did you know that? Did your parents know that? Of course they didn't. So I find it very humorous in a satirical way that people are so analytical of a vaccine that is life-saving, yet they weren't so critical and analytical of a vaccine that would prevent, illnesses that were uncomfortable but weren't necessarily, potentially life-ending. And so there's a whole environment of, I don't know what it is. I don't know if people are just bored, they're frustrated, they're tired, they feed on people's fears. But the idea that here we are in the worst crisis that this world has seen in years, and people are actually making up stuff and other people are believing it and promoting it and perpetuating it is so frustrating. And you know as a doctor that sooner or later, if enough people are not vaccinated, that a variant is going to develop, a mutation is going to occur where the current vaccines are no longer effective, and we're all going to need booster shots. You know it's coming.
Yep. I mean, look at India now. It's just they were like the picture of success, and now it's just an utter mess.
A mess. So everybody relaxed too much.
Yeah.
It's over. It's not really over until those numbers are really, really, really low. And it reminds me. I don't know if I said this to you before. It reminds me of, have you ever been on a plane where it almost landed but I had to go back up?
One time. One time.
Yeah. It doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
It's very nervous and very uncomfortable. This is where we are. Like, the plane is trying to land, but when people are not doing the right thing, that plane's got to take back up again. And this is where we are. So listen, I'll be positive and hope that more of the population gets it. We need them to get it, by the way, because we need at least 70, 80% for a reasonable chance at herd immunity. Otherwise, the variant's going to keep coming, the mutation's going to keep happening, and sooner or later, they're going to be like, guys, these vaccines do not work against variant BY123, and now we got to revaccinate. So,
Yeah, man, I'm with you 100% on that, man.